Hey yo guys, what is up? It's Rico here back again with another video. Today we're going to be playing some more Toontown Rewritten. This is going to be the Let's Play, and it's going to be the 2020 Let's Play part number 4. Alright, hope you guys are having a fantastic day. For me it is Monday, but it is a beautiful fucking holiday, so I am glad it is one of the few holidays, paid holidays that I get with my work. So we're going to fucking pog out, we're going to play some Toontown, alright? First task we have is 3 level 2 plus cogs in Toontown Central. It ain't really shit. Okay, so this is gonna be a little bit weird because part 3 hasn't been uploaded yet as the time of this recording. Obviously when this gets uploaded, hopefully fucking part 3 will be up, otherwise I may have had a mild stroke. But, beyond the point, alright? I wanted to highlight one of the favorite comments that I saw in part 2, and I think going forward, I'm gonna try to at least highlight one comment that I find funny or that I think is dope, and we're just gonna share it as we go along to, like, showcase you guys too. Like, believe it or not, especially because I'm not getting fucking paid for this shit in the first place, right? So a lot of my, like, good vibes and a lot of what keeps me going for this series is when people comment cool stuff or when people say, like, this helped them or whatever, you know? I'm not saying you have to fucking lie and say, like, my whole family was about to commit a genocide and then all of a sudden I watched a Toontown Rewritten Let's Play by Royco64 and the genocide was stopped. You don't have to say some cringe shit like that, although that would be kind of funny, I guess, if you want to say that. Fuck, man, I am really going off the rails right now, but the comment I wanted to bring up is from Lost Without Walking Dead, and they said, I was laughing so hard during this video I showed this to my boyfriend, sister, and dad. That is a very interesting one, and you have a great family dynamic if you're just willing to share some extreme content like this, dude. I appreciate you showing the fam. You're officially registered to the Royco fam. Much love. Alright, so that's the comment that I'm really going to showcase this time. If you guys have any funny comments that you see, or if you write them, dude, thumb that shit up, man. Bring it up to the top if you think it's fucking funny or dope. And together we will showcase some pretty dope stuff around Toontown Rewritten content. So it looks like I bought too many shit tier gags, so I can't even get 5 full cream pie slices. But it's not the end of the world, dude. We're gonna ride it, alright? So there's one thing that I really wanted to talk about in this video, and I feel like it's because I haven't, like, fully talked about it because I was worried about legal repercussion for it. But now since it's been like 5 years, I feel like I'm at least somewhat in the green to, like, to talk about something that can be seen as borderline terrorist. So the point is that I wasn't a terrorist, so keep that in mind. I'm not. And it was a false claim. So I know you guys are probably curious about what I'm talking about now. What I'm talking about now is back when I was at university. Fuck, man, it was a long time ago. Probably like was it 5 years ago, dude? I'm an old sack of shit. But okay, 5 or so years ago, I was at university, and I was streaming Toontown, actually, funny enough. And there is a guy who decided that it would be a great idea. Okay, let me preface this with never do it. It's criminal activity. It is the worst thing you can do for yourself. You'll be put on a fucking list and you'll be sent to jail or prison or something crazy if you do this kind of stupid shit. So don't do it. I'm telling you, full disclosure, never do this. It is the worst idea. It can put people in harm's way. He decided to swap me. So what he decided to do, or she, I'm not going to say it's a he or she, I don't fucking know the details of this person or why they're doing it, because in my opinion it's all psychotic, you know what I mean? It's all for reactions or something like that, but people die from this, people have died from this, so as always I would say never fucking do it. It's not a joke, it's not funny, and you're a horrible fucking person if you do it, because you're putting not only the person in actual harm's way, but you're also putting unintended collateral on either family members or people who happen to live in the same general environment. So the point of it is I was at university, to back up a couple steps already again. I was at university, I was streaming fucking Toontown, and obviously I didn't know about what was going on right away, but I get a call from a number that's local. I assume it's a bot, so I let it go. I get a voicemail, and then 2 minutes pass and I get a call from the same exact fucking number. And I'm like, wow, dude, this bot is fucking persistent. Like, you gotta be fucking shitting me, man. I'm trying to live stream right now. It is not cool. Fuck off. So I answer the phone, I mute my mic, and they say, hey, this is the so-and-so police department, and we, like, revolve around, like, campus crimes and everything. And we got a call saying that it was you, that, like, we want to, like, make sure everything's okay or whatever. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I thought about it and I was like, oh my god, dude, really? Like, somebody's fucking swatting me while I'm streaming fucking Toontown. Of all games, like, of all games, I'm gonna get swatted for playing fucking Toontown, dude. So I talked to this guy for a bit. I was like, well, what are they, like, saying I'm doing? You know, like, that's kind of fucked. Like, I want to, like, clear my name because I'm not doing this. I'm literally live streaming myself, so that's, like, perfect, like, for lack of a better term, alibi. Like, why the fuck would I say I'm doing all this crazy shit? So what they said I was doing, though, which is the crazy fucked up part, is they said I was on campus, I put a bunch of bombs within different buildings, and I was about to kill myself and a bunch of other people. And so if the police didn't do X, Y, or Z or whatever, then I was going to blow myself up along with all these other people. The interesting thing is that class wasn't really, like, of course class is always on, right? But it wasn't, like, the normal time for, like, classes or whatever, too. So I don't know. There's a bunch of holes within the story already. But what I thought was really, like, horrible about it is obviously they tagged my name along with it, and they said that I was, like, doing all this suicidal crazy shit. So I was like, this is not good. Like, what can I do to clear my name or whatever? And they were like, well, we're sending over, like, SWAT officers to basically, like, to check to see if, like, you're doing what you're doing. Like, where are you? We're gonna go bring some SWAT officers over to at least talk to you. And I was like, holy shit, man. Like, I'm not having this. Like, I was at my apartment, and, what I was, like, I wasn't necessarily doing, like, the most illegal shit, but by definition, I wasn't 21, and I was drinking, so it was not good, you know? I mean, they could obviously pin shit on me that is unintended. I didn't think they necessarily would, but I was like, man, this is fucked. Like, this whole thing is fucked. And so they come over, they ask if they could, like, come inside and search the place for bombs, and I'm like, dude, like, please, I've got friends here, I've got, like, roommates here. I will never have a friend again if I bring in some fucking SWAT, if I bring in the whole SWAT team into my place, and then they search every room, not only including mine. Like, I'd be fine if they just searched mine, but that's like, bringing a whole list of unintended consequences alongside, because I don't know what my friends have in their room, I don't know what the people in my apartment have in their place, like, on their persons, you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to narc on everybody either, you know? So I get put into this really, really interesting and bad pickle. And so what I tell them is I'm like, dude, like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I would really prefer it if you don't just search my place. This is a completely unverified claim, and I think that, like, you can tell just by talking to me or whatever, I'm not doing the things that are listed. I'm not on campus or whatever. I'm telling you right now, I was live streaming. It's a common thing now, sadly, and at that time, I wouldn't necessarily say it's really popular now, but at that time, it was really popular for people to SWAT and for them to cause this great reaction that you'd see on some fucking live stream fails of some cops busting into this person's apartment and then, like, either, like, shooting them or doing something crazy, you know, just something completely uncalled for. And so luckily, these SWAT officers, they had the, not to say that other people don't have the brain capacity for it, but they understood that, like, 95% of the time these are fake claims, and that these claims are purely to get reactions, and purely they're used for people that are streaming live content so that way it can fuck them up, you know? And to be fair, to a certain degree, it fucking worked for me, because I didn't stream a lot past that, you know? I definitely took a halt, and I was like, man, this is fucking scary. Like, I'm streaming Toontown, I'm not doing shit, like, illegal, I'm not doing shit that's really necessarily mean, I'm not doing anything that really warrants this kind of extremely negative response, but it still caused me to really question whether or not I even wanted to stream. I was like, is this really fucking worth it, dude? If I go and get shot because some people are saying I'm doing some stupid shit, is that worth it? And I thought about it, and I was like, that's exactly what they'd want me to do, so I'm just gonna keep streaming anyways. But, moral of the story here is just try to be nice to people, even in the case of, like, SWAT officers or whatever. If I was a huge fucking dick to them, they'd probably just bust into my place and be like, fuck this kid, dude. Like, we have to do this legally or whatever. We could always go through the Patriot Act and say that he was being a fucking terrorist, and we could search his place with probable cause because somebody said that he was gonna fucking blow himself up and blow other people up. So, but because I was, like, relatively nice about it, and I was like, this is, like, embarrassing. This whole thing is embarrassing, you know? I don't want to, I didn't want any of that to happen, and to be fair, like, I didn't necessarily deserve any of that. I don't think anybody deserves to be fucking swatted. So, I thought sharing that story would be at least interesting, because I'd say relatively comfortably that not a ton of people have been swatted, you know? I fucking hope that not a lot of people have been swatted, man. And to be fair, too, my experience wasn't necessarily the worst, either. Like, they didn't bust into my place, you know? They didn't break the fucking door down. they're actually very calm about it. So yeah, I mean, I struggle sometimes because I don't really like police that much, to be brutally honest about it. I think that a lot of places are not necessarily safe because of cops. It's just safer places, and a lot of these places have way too much of a police presence when they don't need it. But that's just residing upon my beliefs and everything. I don't think that Big Brother should always be so close by, you know? But what the point I bring up is just be nice to other people, even in a case where you feel like you're being fucked over, because in that case, I definitely felt like I was being fucked over, and even still, with whatever it was, whether I was just lucky at that time or whatever. But yeah, just try to be nice and try to be understanding to other people's positions, because 100% of the time that dude could have made my life hell, you know. 100% of the time he could, and he could have done it without really any blowback at all. So the point of it is be nice to other people, and hopefully they'll be nice to you back in return. And even in that case, I don't think that, like, I was necessarily super nice to him, but I wasn't, like, irrational, you know? So I think that because of, like, me just not being a huge dickhole, I didn't have my entire apartment searched, and my friends just think of me as the biggest fucking narc. So that's good, and nothing bad happened either. I mean, bad shit could have happened if I would have taken that a different way. The moral of the story is never fucking swat anybody, man. That's the moral. It's literally a piece of shit thing to do. It's not funny, it's not cool, and you could ruin people's lives, literally end people's lives for no good reason. Luckily at that time, it was probably a couple of years since the first swatting or whatever occurred, so I'm glad that they even contacted me, because who's to say that they would have even had my correct number? Who's to say that, like, why? They could have just fucking bursted in, you know? But because of all the news coverage of swatting or whatever, and because it was probably well known in police, like, stations and stuff that shit has been happening, and it's being done by external forces, so whether that be out of country or through VPN. But yeah, what I was told, actually, though, is that the person who was doing that kind of stuff got caught and he was put in prison, so that's good if that's actually the case. I'm not saying necessarily that prison is a good thing, but you have to be really fucked up in the head to be doing that kind of shit to people. So at least there's some punishment being done, and then he won't be doing that further if the punishment went through and he got out or whatever, I fucking hope. So that's what I'm hoping from it, that at least there's a lesson learned from all this, because that shit was fucked, okay? That shit was fucked. I'm trying to think of what else I even want to talk about, man. That took up a spicy chunk of time. It really did. All while we're going to blue glue direct to you. One of the dumbest tasks, man. I was thinking I was gonna stream after this also. Now, I know that when you're watching this video, it won't make any goddamn sense, because by the time I upload it, it'll probably be like a week at least from now, so you'll be like, Ben, where's the fucking stream, man? And hopefully by then I'll be doing another stream, so it'll look like it coincides with this video. Epic. That's the 5-head play of the day, man. But I've been wanting to stream more too, so how my logic of YouTube and streaming works, or YouTube and Twitch works, is I stream once I feel like I've got a good amount of videos that are ready to be posted. Twitch is like the extra, if that makes sense. So I don't use Twitch as the primary, even though money-wise it would make a lot of sense to put Twitch as the primary, and that's the case for a lot of people too. A lot of people that just want to make a lot of money will be streaming nearly 24/7, because that is the quickest way you can get, like, revenue via content. But for me, how it works is, like, I've never really seen Twitch as, like, my primary go-to thing. I've never felt, like, of course there's the direct connection, right? You feel like you have that direct connection. There's very little latency between understanding what people are saying and how they perceive you, and how, like, connecting, like, it's super, you can connect with people super easy with Twitch, and that's why I like it for that reason. But at the same time, YouTube, like, creating VODs and, like, or I don't even know if you consider it that, but just creating content, like, that content being edited or whatever, putting through a pretty funny filter, and then being sent out, is something that I've always had more of, like, a deeper connection with than with Twitch. Because I feel like with Twitch, once that stream, quote-unquote, is done, besides some of my Toontown shit, people don't really, like, watch it that much, you know what I mean? So unless everybody's all watching it at that specific time, in which case you need, like, a fucking schedule or something, that's, like, the cutoff point. Like, people see it past that point, and then it's done. It's not like it's with, like, YouTube, where you could put up a video, and I shit you not, this is happening now for me, 7 years ago. It doesn't get pissed for views at the start. Not that there's anything wrong with that or not wrong with that, but so the video goes up, it gets like 1,000 views, let's say, like cool, but then over the course of 7 years, it goes up to 2.7 million views. And over the course of that time, it continually gets views, so it continually sees that growth even after the fact. So it's like you put in all this work with the commentary or whatever to make the video at the beginning. It doesn't necessarily work right away, but then with YouTube algorithm and YouTube fucking magic, dude, it ends up, because of the content being good or because it gets recommended a certain way or by certain videos or something, then all of a sudden it grows into this beautiful fucking, like, beautiful fucking massive tree, you know? Like, it's just growth. That's the way I like to see it. With YouTube, it's a lot easier to see growth over time. With Twitch, you see the growth instantly, right? But, I don't know what it is, man. It's like YouTube is more long-term growth. Twitch is like extremely bursts of short growth, I guess that's the easiest way I can describe it. And to bring that tangent even further, what it really is it's just, with Twitch, I have to be live all the time, which, with work and everything, dude, work fucking juices me, man. Some people are asking about what I do for my 9 to 5, and I don't really like to see, and I would love to just say everything I do, you know, down to a fucking T, but the problem is that there's a certain level of liability with that. Not only have I been swatted, like I just said, but there have been interesting scenarios that I put myself in because I've released a little bit too much information, and although everything can be searched up and found pretty fucking easily, I would prefer it if some private things could just be private. So the best thing I can say about my work without being too ultra specific on things is that what my focus is on work is clean water. That's what I can say. So what I do is extremely important to people living a healthy life, and then on top of it, in terms of reach, I can guarantee you personally that I have affected probably 99.9% of people. And that's not to say that it's a always thing. It's not to say that, like, I am affecting that amount of people at all times. It's more so to say that the reach is so big that at some point that I've probably affected, like, you, the person watching, your specific water supply within a certain point of your life positively at least once. That's what I'd be able to say without a doubt, pretty much. And because of that, I feel like a good sense of, like, what would be the word? Like, I feel a sense of not only, like, accomplishment, but I feel like I am doing a very good, like, service, like a very good deed within the world. Because there isn't really much better than 2 things, or really 3 things, but 2 of them are the most important. That's clean air and clean water. Because that's the thing we breathe so fucking often, right? If you don't breathe, guys, take a deep breath. Do me a favor, take a huge fucking deep breath right now. Hopefully the air that you just, like, took in is clean air, you know? And I hope that. I truly hope that. I hope you don't have to wear a fucking gas mask to get some clean air through a filter, right? And then on top of that, water, right? We consume so much water every day. And so if that water isn't clean, oh my god, dude, what the fuck am I doing? It's a Spin Doctor invasion. I'm going to Gulp Gulch. Dude, I don't want to be in Club Penguin speed chat only. I finally got my my speed chat enabled, so I can type now, guys. I can type now. It's big pog, big epic. Dude, I completely lost my train of thought again, man. Okay, what I was saying was about clean water and clean air. Those are the 2 most important things. Next thing, obviously, being like clean food. Things just being clean is a really good thing. Is that a bottom feeder? I need a bottom feeder. Dude, I almost went full blind boy mode. I'd love to have you for lunch, you ass eater. I'm sure you'd like that too, big fucking kink, bucko. Fucking ass eater level 1. You'd love to eat my ass for lunch. But it's a no for me, dog. It's gonna be a big fucking no. Get your big ass lips up on out of here, brother. My sense of impact is much more important than, let's say, my sense of how much I'm being paid. It's the same sense with YouTube, where the payment was kind of like almost an afterthought, you know? Like, I liked it when all my costs and stuff were covered and I was making some money on top of that. That was dope, you know? I felt like I was like, okay, well, this is like, it's not necessarily like a full-fledged like business or anything. Like, I'm not trying to fucking juice it with this, but I'm paying all the costs of all the services that I need, and after all of that, even, I still generate a profit, which is cool because I can buy some computer parts or whatever. That's what I really did with it. Or I bought some fucking Papa John's pizza or some shit, you know? Like, I bought some fucking pizza for the friends, and I was like, this is fucking lit, dude. I'm gonna keep buying pizza, like, every fucking weekend with the money that I'm making from YouTube. So that's what I always thought was dope. Right now, obviously, that's not an option with YouTube because they demonetize me until further notice, and they don't really give a shit about me because I don't really fit their specific way of thinking. YouTube is a real interesting one, man. They'll let you know that they don't like you purely because they will not respond to you ever, even though they say we'll keep you posted, quote unquote. So like I was saying with that though, what's more important to me than money or anything, because at the end of the day, money is really just like it's like a resource, you know. If you're not happy and you have a bunch of money, you'll still fucking kill yourself, you know. Like, let's be real. If you have all this fucking money but you have nothing to really spend it on that would be of utmost value or whatever, it won't give you a sense of purpose, then really you're going to be the same level of insane you were before, just with extra steps. So that's why, for me, I need something impactful where I'm affecting this amount of the population in a really positive way. They're able to live longer lives because they're drinking clean water. That's really big for me. So that's why I'm going to continue to do stuff like that. And if I end up not working for the same company that I'm working for, then I'm going to try to go on to something bigger and necessarily better. I want to work for the same company that I work for. I'm not somebody that would like to hop jobs at all. But like if the case comes where there's no really option to get more impact and there's no real option to impact people's lives in a more positive way, then I'll probably end up trying to look for somewhere else where I could be have a bigger reach for that. For me, I've dealt with too many things now where I've realized the extreme negatives, and I've seen the extreme negatives of how bad water is nowadays. It's actually pathetic, you know, when you think about it. With my experience through work or whatever, I've understood that restaurants, homes, all this stuff, nobody has clean water, dude. And it's legitimately repulsive. If you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it, truly. You'll never be able to unsee it. And it's so fucking disgusting, but knowing that you're having like a positive impact on it or whatever, and that you're changing things for the better, and in turn, you're not only helping like the people who are paying for it, but you're helping all the collateral. So the people who use it, or even the kids or whatever who have no fucking idea what clean water is, dude. They say water's water, you know. Those people will not be negatively affected by the horrible water that is there. So that's my TLDR for work, man. It was a huge fucking rant, but the reason I bring it up is because I know that a lot of people like struggle with like purpose and everything, and with college, bringing up that story about university or whatever where I got swatted, that was an extreme time for me because I had no sense of purpose. I had no like light at the end of my tunnel, you know. I had nothing that was really like, what you're doing is good, what you should keep doing is good, and your purpose, you have a purpose, you know what I mean? For me, my purpose at that time was going to class, which I felt like I wasn't doing shit. I felt like what I was being taught I could learn online, and what I was doing was extremely archaic, and what I was doing had no like real definitive purpose, and it was all very old school, if that makes sense, for something that I was trying to go into that was very tech oriented. It had no tech in it, so I was going fucking mentally insane from that. I had no purpose. And so if you're in a similar situation like that, the first thing I'd say is never fucking give up, dude. Never fucking give up, okay? Because there are people that are not necessarily just leaning on you, so don't even think of it like that, but there'll be people that'll be deeply not only disappointed in you, but they will be destroyed by not having you there. And just because they're not willing to tell you that right then and there does not mean that it's not true, because there are tons of people that are within my circle or within my life where if they just stopped, whether that be they died or whatever happened, you know, if they gave up, I would be in a much worse place than I am now. And so the challenge is how do you tell these people that in a way that's not super awkward or whatever, in a way that would make them feel more appreciated? Because truly deep down, I feel that everybody is struggling to a certain extent. So you have to let them know that they're appreciated and that they mean so much to you, because you'll never know when that day is that'll be their last day, you know. They could get in a car accident or something. You never fucking know when somebody's day will be their last day, so the important thing is to let them know how you're feeling now. That's my opinion of all of it. And it may seem super fucking cheesy, it may seem super whatever, you know, fuck it, dude. Tell however, like, whether it be a best friend, like somebody you love or whatever, tell them how you feel, because you have no idea how much that'll mean to them at that specific time. That's my like fucking 500 cents on all this stuff. I feel like I've been like talking and not stopping for the last like 25 minutes. Maybe I should just take a sec and just chill the fuck out. I feel like I've got like a lot like cycling through in my head right now. It's a good thing to just like internalize and just think out loud sometimes. Because for me personally, it's hard to, and it's hard for a lot of people to grasp this, but like in real life, I am super fucking quiet. Like super fucking quiet, dude. I talk, you know, but a lot of what I talk about is extremely sarcastic, and I don't like talk near as much as I do when I'm like recording a video or when I'm streaming or whatever. I'd say streaming is more accurate to how I am, but streaming in general, it's like this not artificial, but it's elevated level of talking, elevated level of interaction than what I would be doing in standard, like in real life. And I've been working on it, you know. I try to talk more. I try to express my like opinions and beliefs more, because I think that's something that I always like struggled with is, but what happens if people don't necessarily agree with it and they think of you as X, Y, and Z? The point is that you'll never truly understand other people's perceptions, so be your fucking self, man. Don't be really embarrassed by it. Just be constantly changing, be constantly like be unwilling to, I tried to cancel out Kiki, I'm sorry, man. Oh god, dude, I feel awful. No, never mind. We got another guy coming in, dude. It's a ass eater level 1 though, so you're probably not gonna get any XP anyways unless you're fucking level 1 Gagaronis. What I was trying to say earlier is, never stick your feet like in the ground and be a stubborn little fucking prick. Don't do that, alright? Always keep your mind open and like open to new perspectives and differing perspectives, and don't let that be the thing that causes you to never change. Because I feel like even as you get older or whatever, a lot of people, they become like super close-minded, and it turns off a lot of people from being able to talk to them, to being able to express to them. And I see that a lot with parents, I see it a lot with like teachers, where they've got this one binary 1 and 0, whether or not they're right. And so they always have this notion of what I'm saying is 100% the truth and is 100% correct. And the reality is you could be dead ass wrong at any point in your life. Whether you think you're 100% right or not, you should at least be able to listen to other people's perspectives. Because that's the beautiful thing, like especially about the United States or whatever. And I can't speak to every fucking country, right? Because right now especially, like the United States and politics or everything are getting super fucking polarizing. It's disgusting. But I still love talking to people with differing perspectives. I love talking to people with like completely different viewpoints than my own, and just being able to listen to them and not be all like judgmental and everything about it, but to be like, we all want the best, you know what I mean? We all want good things to happen, and this is what it comes down to in my head, is I think we all want good, you know? It's just some people have different methods and different reasonings in their head of what the steps are, 1, 2, and 3, to being good. So just because their ideas could be completely polar opposite to what you believe, they think that that will lead to good. And I guess then you have to define what is good or whatever, or if, I don't know, I mean, it goes into its own fucking rabbit hole, but I think that a lot of people want good things to happen, like, over the majority for sure, and we just need to realize that. So with politics especially, it's like, with everybody being so fucking split on everything, it's like if you're not with us, you're like against us type of thing, but I always think now it's like the opposite. It's like everybody wants the best, but there are always going to be different ways to approach things and different ways to deal with like really complex problems. So keep an open mind. That's my running thing from this. Keep an open mind, be nice to people. Everybody's fucking struggling out there, man. And that's not just because of like COVID-69, man. I mean, like, literally, mentally, everybody's struggling to a certain point. Whether or not they look like they are is another thing. I think a lot of people are really good at masking that, but everybody's going through their own shit, man. I feel like I just fucking like did like a fucking speech or some shit, man. I'm done talking about I'm done talking about that kind of stuff for now, man. I'm gonna be a jokester now, man. That's what I want to be. Dude, it's actually a blue Smurf. He's legit a Smurf. Our Toontown Smurf's a thing. So in video games, there's a term that people like to use, Smurf. It's when you're playing a game in like ranked or some sort of competitive mode, and you're playing on an alternate account, but you're fucking juicing kids that are really bad. That's what you'd call a Smurf. I don't know if everybody knows that. There's probably some people like, uh-huh, Ben, yeah, we fucking know, you idiot. And then there's probably some that are like, yo, like, this is some pretty dope information right now, Ben. Thanks so much for fucking enlightening me, man. Dude, we hit the glass of water on all these goons. Please, hit the one on the right, man. You actual Jamoke. I'm not gonna kill this level 3, man. Dude's smurfing, but he doesn't even know how to play the game. Oh, mega fucking lol, dude. Spunky Smarty Fuddy. Is that Smarty Fuddy? Man, that name is rough. It's hard to read, you know? It does not go right off the tongue. But yeah, hopefully, like, me talking about, especially, like, the swatting thing doesn't lead to some fucking legal repercussion, because I think after, like, a couple years, like, they have to fucking take a chill on that shit. Because at some point, somebody's gotta talk about some shit, you know? Wow, dude, you absolute fucking bad word, man. Hitting the one on the right and killing him? Or did he kill him? Oh, hell no. We still got that XP, dude. I'm not even fucking tripping. Never mind, dude. I take my bad word back. Whoever threw that. Was it Spunky Hard Word? Hard name? It's not even that it's a hard name to read. It's just so awkward. The reading of the name is so awkward. Incredibly awkward. And I can't believe we're already at 23 laugh also. I feel like we just started this fucking series, man. Alright, 1 point laugh boost. Screw that, boys. We're at 24 now. Fuck the 23 gang. I think this is the last task I'm gonna do for this episode, and I'm probably gonna go live on Twitch, cause fuck it, man. I'm in a decent mood, and people watching this, what I'd say is if this is being premiered right now, don't expect a live stream right after, because this is probably recorded like a week or two before it's actually being uploaded. So sorry, Omega Lol, but I'll stream more in the future too, dude. Don't trip. I'm trying to get to where I'm streaming like once every 10 days. Right now it's like once every 15 days. It's not too good, but we're working on it, boys. Also, if you like appreciate everything I'm doing for like making content and everything, drop a sub on Twitch, man. That's the only way. Either that or buying a fucking shirt on YouTube, dude. That's the only way to like truly support the channel right now. Besides obviously just like watching and chilling, having a good time. I mean like monetarily or whatever. To support the fees that I have to pay to do what I do, I guess. So Adobe Cloud, storage for everything, you know, all that fucking jazz, man. But like I said, like it's none of that's ever fucking required. None of it will ever be required. This is like 99% of what I do is purely because of passion, dude. So if you can't sub or whatever, if you can't buy a shirt, don't fucking trip about it, man. Seriously, don't fucking trip. I'm just saying it as like almost an extra thing. But I truly hope that like not necessarily what I say specifically, but like just that this brings up somebody's mood. It brings up somebody how they're feeling or whatever. It helps them in some way. That's my goal with all this shit. Is that there's a lot of like extremely negatively like through things are shown in an extremely negative lens nowadays, you know? And I mean that primarily through what we deem as news, what we deem as current events. It's put through this fucking lens, man, where it's like, holy shit, man, the world's ending again for the 11th time in a row, you know? It's like it's the notion of like the lead always bleeds, you know? So like for news, it's always the person who dies. That's what the lead is. Somebody got shot like 11 times. You know, me being near Chicago, I know that shit, dude. I know that shit. It happens every fucking day, dude. Okay? So you either choose what you listen to, or you don't let that stuff affect you. So you gotta listen to some of the positive stuff, and you gotta listen to a shitload of the neutral stuff. Otherwise, the negative will be this overwhelming fucking thing, dude. So the idea is, just appreciate the fuck out of the good stuff. Appreciate the fuck even more out of the neutral stuff. The stuff that doesn't even have necessarily this extremely positive or extremely negative lens. Because it puts you in this mental state, man, that's so negative. If all you see around you is negative, it's negative, you know? So what can you do to change that warped perspective? It isn't the truth, man. When it comes down to it, it's not the fucking truth. Because there's so much neutral, especially neutral men. It's not to say that everything's all positive, dude. Everything's all good. Fuck that shit, dude. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's a mix. There's a mix, and the overwhelming majority of it is neutral. It's not all fucking negative, man. It's not, I promise you. Even though it seems like it. Like, this timeline that we're in can seem crazy, and this timeline that we're in could seem overwhelming and like the world's fucking over, but it's not, dude. It's really not. We got one more cog to kill, and then we're dipping the fuck out, man. We got one level 3 plus cog to kill. Ugly Whiskers Crinklezilla. I don't really like that one either, man. I really like the Miss Sunshine. Miss Sunshine's a pretty dope name. It's probably a little bit overused, but we got Deputy Wesley Hucklemew. Hucklemew. Interesting, man. The deputy of the law right there. Good old Petunia Jumblecrump. I kind of like that one, dude. Fuck. Thought I wasn't gonna like that one as I was reading it, but then the end of it, dude. Like Bumblecrump. Spunky Smarty Fuddy. Yeah, the randomized names on this game are wild. I never could really fuck with them, man. In terms of me being able to use it on my accounts, unless I found one that was really funny, or one that was extremely suggestive in a kind of disgusting way, I could never really mess with it. I do respect it, though. I think that some of the randomized names are pretty fucking weird. In a cool way, These guys are just fucking AFKing, man. Absolute savages. There was a JJ stream that I was watching. If you guys don't know who JJ is, he's like a Toontown, like, he's one of the fucking OGs, one of the OG founders. He's a dope dude, man. Dope dude. And he'll like just straight up report people saying that they're AFK or whatever, and I thought that was the craziest shit. But the whole idea is it's taking up, like, I'm assuming anyways, the reason why he does it is more so based on like server capacity and everything. Kick the people out who aren't even fucking playing, you know, and not to be like a permanent kick, just like kick them out of the game. If they're gonna want to play, have them play, you know. If they're gonna fucking sit there in ZZZ boy mode, then get them the fuck out of here, you know. At least temporarily. But JJ, if you're watching this, I highly doubt you are, man, but appreciate the fuck out of you, man. Toontown is it's always been a nostalgia fucking boner trip for me, man, and I appreciate it that you took the time out of your day or whatever to make it even a possibility, because you guys were like the how would you even describe it, like the arrowhead that really pierced into like private servers, you know, for this game. You guys were the true founders, if that makes sense. Them and Toontown Offline, really. You guys ever play Garden Drop on Toontown House? Some of that dank shit? Game was absolute ass, but I will still claim that it is the best minigame in Toontown history. Either that or Five Nights at the Factory. If you guys haven't seen that, go check out the Royco archives on that. It's an absolute dank boy 9000. The game mode was complete shit, but it's hilarious that they put it together that quickly. I want to find a level 3, but I don't think it is even possible to find it on the street. I feel like I've been walking around for 10 goddamn years. I think I'm just capping it, dude. I think I'm not even going to complete the fucking task because I don't have gags. I need to get gags. I probably need to get beans too. I'm a broke-ass motherfucker. And, it's ruined, man. It's a yikes. I didn't do it, dude. No. Whisper. No, I didn't do it. Alright, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I hope you guys do try to keep an open mind, like I said. Just keep those things internalized, man. Keep them running through your head. Nothing that I say is like 100% true at all. All I'm trying to do is open up people's minds and open up people's perspectives and to realize we all, not all of us necessarily, there are fucking evil people out there, but I feel like the vast majority of people want good to happen in this world, and we have different ways on how we can accomplish that to happen, and just because it's not through your specific lens doesn't mean that it's bad. So that was my running thing for today. But hope you guys did enjoy. If you're new, subscribe, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Drop a sub on Twitch if you want to keep this channel keep this channel going, man. And drop a dank comment, dude, if you want as well. See you guys in the next one though. Peace the fuck out, boys. See ya.